Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Joni from the blog simplelivingmama.com, and today we have another homeschool video. I am in the midst of homeschool planning, which is why there are books all over the place. We're getting ready for our new school year coming up here pretty soon, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys a look inside my planner and how I am planning my school year with this. So let's get started. Alright, so here is a look inside, or a look at my planner. This is a Happy Planner. I have had this one for a couple of years, and the reason that I am continuing to reuse it is because I can customize it however I want, and I like to use a lot of printables that I get online to just sort of customize this planner. Now, I'm not doing my daily planning in here. This is where I'm just basically keeping all of my homeschool records, what we're using for our read-alouds, our curriculum, and all of that stuff. So this is not like a daily planner for me, but this is a great place to keep all of my homeschool related information. So I do have a Happy Planner punch. This is something my daughter made for me. I have a Happy Planner punch that I use for all of my printables, and I will link that so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But that makes it to where I can completely customize my entire planner. So at the very front of my planner is where I keep my year at a glance, and this basically tells me which days are holidays, which days we're having school, which days we're on break. I follow a Sabbath schedule, so that's why you'll see a break for every 7th week. So I break up our homeschool into 3 terms. There's a 6-week. The first term is 6 weeks, then there's a break, and then there's another 6 weeks, and each term runs the same way. Of course, that's sometimes if there's holidays and stuff, that's not going to be a full 6 weeks. We may or may not take a break on the holidays. I haven't decided yet, but I have them marked just in case that we do. The next page is an attendance page, and this is just where I keep track of all of the days that we are doing school. Then I have a monthly themes page. This is from my homeschool preschool planner. This is for my littlest, well, my preschooler. I do have a toddler, but this is for my preschooler, and just where I've jotted down different ideas for themes that I can do for him, depending on whatever month it is. And here is where I have started my actual planning. So I am doing my planning by terms, as I mentioned before. So I am only planning for term 1 right now. I'm not even looking at term 2 or term 3 yet. I'm kind of doing things a little bit differently this year, and you will see that in my future curriculum videos coming up in a couple of weeks. But I'm doing a much more Charlotte Mason based homeschool, and we're going to have a lot more books and moving pieces. Each child's going to have their own individual stack of books, so things are a little bit different, and I need somewhere to keep track of all of that stuff. So here I have my term 1 sheet to keep track of our artist, our composer. I'm doing something a little bit different for nature study. We'll talk about that later. Folk songs, I didn't write down what they're doing for Plutarch because only my 2 oldest kids are going to be doing Plutarch this year, and they're going to be doing their own, they're going to be doing their own individual lessons in the Plutarch book, so I didn't write that down. We have Shakespeare, our poet, and our hymn, and this is what we're going to be doing together as a family, most likely during our morning time. So that's why some of the stuff isn't filled in, because that's not going to be included in the morning time. On this page, I have just got my term 1 read aloud books that I've chosen, as well as some different projects to do, some different things to cook together, some different art projects, and things like that, and some handicraft projects as well. I do have a places to see. This is where I'm going to jot down the different field trips that I want us to take, and then here's a notes section. These planning pages came from Etsy. I'm not sure if they're still available, but there are lots of great Charlotte Mason based planners, and like I said, I deconstruct my printables. So I take the ones that I want to use and I print them and I use them, and then I don't use the others. So I have a place to list our nature walks. And then what I have here is the term 1 schedule for my kids with the curriculum that we're going to be using this year. This is a Catholic Charlotte Mason based curriculum. I printed this out straight from their website. This gives me an idea of which books that I'm going to need, and it's going to help me when I go to fill out their weekly sheets, which I'm going to be including in their morning time menus. I'll show you guys the morning time menus when I get them completed. I'll have a little card so you can take a look at what they've looked like in the past. They're going to look very similar, but I am going to change up how their schedule looks based off of what their weekly schedule looks like coming from here. So I have, let's see, 5 different students that are going to be doing this particular curriculum, and I'm not taking everything from this curriculum either. These are just my reference pages. They're here in the front. I have a first grader and a second grader who I'm actually pairing up together, so that way I just have to do their read alouds with them. They both will have the same read aloud. That's going to make things so much easier for me. And then I have this is their nature study plans. I went ahead and put that in here as well. I'm going to have a 4th grader. He's going to be able to do his work a little bit more independently than my younger kids. So I have, there's a lot of blanks here because I still need to fill in exactly what I want them to do. But this, like I said, this is just where I'm going to pull all of that information so I can put together their weekly schedules and tell them what they need to get done each day of the week. So I'll probably sit down and have a planning night every Sunday night, get their morning time menus set up for the next week. That way they know which books and which pages they're supposed to be reading from for each day of the week. So that's my 4th graders was here. This is my 6th graders, and I have not printed out my 8th graders yet. The particular curriculum that we're working on, they're redoing some of their schedules, and they're supposed to have a new one put out for the 8th grade pretty soon, so that's why I haven't printed his out just yet. I also have a little section in here that's really just for me to write down different afternoon occupations ideas, and then a place for me to keep my own personal book list. Here are my dividers. My toddler decided to decorate this one for me, but I'll show you how I'm going to have each month set up. So what I've done is I'm using the same old dividers that came with the Happy Planner originally. They do have the old monthly planning pages on the backs of the dividers, but what I've done is I am just going to print out a calendar for each month and kind of lay it over top of that old calendar that's no longer relevant. That way I can look at the month. This particular calendar is actually from Catholic Icing. We are Catholic, so I like having different feast days and such available to me to look at. So I'm going to have that at the beginning of each month, and then inside of each month I'm going to have these weekly planning pages, and I'll probably just quickly jot down what we're going to be doing each week together, and then for each of my kids as well, and that way I can look at it on a weekly basis and then transfer that over to their morning time menus, which I'll show you since I already have them printed out. I'll show you what some of the pages are going to look like for them. So I got this from the Facebook group for the Modern Obelisk curriculum, and these are going to go in the kids' morning time menus. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use like a wet erase marker, and they know what their religion book is, or in this case they're going to be reading a gospel from the Bible, and I'll write down what verses they need to read, and then they know that they need to narrate it. And this just really helps break everything down. So I'll write down what lesson they're going to be doing with the good and the beautiful. they'll know up here like which lesson they're supposed to do. They're going to have their own lesson list so they can check off their lessons as they complete them. What I like about this is that it's giving my kids a lot more independence, my older children especially. So they're going to have to keep up with their lessons. I'll go in and I'll write down what they're going to be doing each week, but they're going to have to actually keep up with their lessons. They're going to have to write down their narrations and then come and show them to me at the end of the day. So we'll see how that goes. I think it's going to be good for them, especially my older kids were wanting more independence. I'll probably talk a little bit more about this when I talk about our family curriculum and why we're doing a switch. We're not going to be using My Father's World this year, but we were just struggling with my older kids wanting to sit and have conversations, wanting to learn, especially when we were doing our history readings. And then I have a lot of younger kids that would be crying, screaming, getting into stuff, and we were just having a really hard time with me doing all of the read aloud and them wanting to listen, and I'm constantly being interrupted. So I just feel like giving them the material, since they're independent readers now, giving them the material to read on their own, and then coming and discussing with me when it's a quieter time, when the little kids aren't going crazy. I think that will work a little bit better for us, and that's what I'm hoping. So I will definitely report back at the end of the school year and let you guys know how it goes. But so that's how the months are going to be laid out, and then the weeks within the months. And then here at the back of the planner, I have a lot of note pages, and this is where I'm just keeping track of book lists, which ones are digital, which ones I already have. Once I get all of their books in the mail, I'm going to check them off, so I know that I have every book that they need to do term 1, and then I'll come down here and I'll write term 2, and then I'll make sure I have all the books that they need for term 2. Doing it term by term, I feel helps me feel a lot less overwhelmed. Whereas if I was trying to just plan out the entire year right now, I would probably go crazy, because, this is new for us. Each kid having so many of their own individual books is a completely new experience. So term by term, that's how we're planning this year. Okay. And then I haven't really changed anything out at the very back of my planner. I still have the Charlotte Mason list of attainments for a child of age 6 and for a child of 12. This is the My Father's World scope and sequence. It has some coffee spilled on it. That happens a lot with my stuff. Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to keep this in here, but that was from all the years that we used My Father's World. And then this is the pre-planned monthly theme ideas, a preschool book list, and what should my preschooler know. So I'll use that for my 4-year-old. All right, so that just sums up how I've put together my homeschool planner. Like I said, it's not going to be a daily planning tool, but it is going to be something that I refer to on a weekly basis, so I can sit down and get all of my kids' morning time menus set up for the next week. And it's a great place to keep track of attendance and the different books that I'm going to need throughout the year, the different read alouds that we're going to do, and all of that stuff. If you have any questions, just leave them down in the comment box down below and I will get back to you. I hope that you have a great day. Bye.